Yurukill the Calumniation Games was a game I had on my radar since I first saw the trailer. A visual novel cross shoot 'em up was definitely something I thought would be right up my alley. Add to the fact that Homura Kawamoto, best known for his work on Kakagurui Compulsive Gambler, wrote the story for Yurukill. It's definitely something that I had to play. Let's find out if this blend of genres turns out to make a wonderful game or if it's a complete disaster. Please note all footage used is only from the first 2 chapters of the game, as to avoid too many spoilers. The game opens with Sengoku's viewpoint. You come to learn he is one of many prisoners on a ship destined for Yurukill Land, with all the prisoners detained claiming they are not guilty of their crimes. To add to the mystery, Sengoku receives a letter from someone in the cell next to him that claims they are responsible for the crimes he went to prison for. The eccentric Binko, who is what I would call the game master of Yurukill, makes her introduction, and through this you learn you are there to play the Yurukill Games, and those that survive will have a chance to clear their name and be free. Each of the prisoners is partnered with an executioner who are the victims from the prisoners' crimes, and they are all there by choice, enticed into playing by the promise of having one wish granted. Together, the executioner and prisoner must compete in the Yurukill Games, surviving each attraction at the mysterious amusement park. But in some twisted fate, the executioners can press a button and immediately kill the prisoner they are paired with. Binko describes it as some sort of safety measure. As you play through the game, you go through the different attractions pertaining to each of the different prisoners. These prisoners all get team names, which are mass murderers, death-dealing duo, crafty killers, stalkers, and finally peeping toms. In the end, Yurukill's story is intriguing and full of mystery. It's only let down by some of the scenarios for proving innocence of the prisoner feeling slightly contrived. One example being that due to brother Futa and Ryota shaking their left hands, they couldn't have been killers as the weapon used had bloodstains indicating the culprit was right-handed. Regardless, overall I was really drawn into each of the stories and it felt very well written. Yurukill presents mostly as a visual novel. There is a lot of dialogue and the story is the key reason to play through it. Each chapter plays in a similar fashion. You learn about the crimes of the prisoner through an attraction based on their crime. The attraction is similar to an escape room where you'll be guided by a robot that provides hints as to what you need to do to progress. Each attraction has multiple rooms with interactable sections. These are easily identifiable as the cursor changes colour. Often you must solve puzzles to collect items to progress. These puzzles can be anything from making a correct choice based on the information you have, to simple puzzles that often have clues you can reference to solve. These clues are shown in the bottom left corner on the screen, once in a puzzle. Outside of the escape room sections, there are some text-based decisions. Most are not critical to the story, however some do impact the game and may cause your demise. However, it is always fairly easy to know when these decisions are important or not, and if you do get a game over, you will lose hardly any progress. There are events called Margie Kill Time, where the prisoner faces a cross-examination at the hands of their executioner. In this section, you get dialogue choices and must pick the correct answer to survive. Make it to the end of the escape room successfully and you will now be facing the shoot 'em up section. These sections are called Yurukill Judgment, where prisoners and executioners pilot Yurukill fighters or Yurukill ships within a virtual reality. Facing off against each other, the prisoners must stake their lives on these battles as they seek the truth behind the crimes they are accused of. Before takeoff, you will face a series of questions in a high-speed quiz. Correct answers increase the number of lives you have during the fight, so be careful and choose the correct answer. You will then play through a really great shoot 'em up section. The controls feel tight and the battles themselves provide variety for each chapter. The action is brisk and each of the pilots has unique shots. There is also a gauge that fills up, allowing you to perform special attacks. Fundamentally, the gameplay here is really solid and will please fans of the genre. Midway through the battle, you will encounter a prejudice synapse. That is a visual representation of the executioner's mind. This is where you will have to choose the correct piece of evidence to continue. Choosing the wrong thing means you lose lives. This was actually the only section of the game where I felt that I was making wild guesses as to the correct answer. You will then go through another gameplay section before reaching the mind maze. This is a simple section where you will complete sentences to clear a way through the executioner's labyrinth of thoughts. However, I did find the visuals for this section a little much. Finally, you will face a boss battle, and once you overcome this, you'll blast your way through the defenses and weapons generated by the executioner's doubts, assumptions, and force of will in order to prevail and unveil the truth behind the prisoner's crime. In turn, you'll also clear the chapter. Outside of the story mode, there is also a score attack mode. Here you can choose from any past stages you have played and try at a high score in the shooter section. The interesting thing here is you can choose any character to play any stage, with each character having slightly different skills. You can also choose a difficulty from easy to hard that changes the number of lives you have for that playthrough. Overall, I liked the visual style of Yurukill. It invokes a carnival-like atmosphere throughout, with the use of floating colours around each of the characters as they talk in the story segments. This colouring also flows through to the outline of the text box and is a really nice addition to the visual style. There is also subtleties such as the torii gates around Binko as she talks, which ties in with her kitsune mask she wears throughout. The characters all look great. Unfortunately, they don't have a variety of positions, so you'll be looking at the same images when the character talks. I also noticed the mouth movements don't fully sync to the dialogue.
ニンニンニン、ベルに呼ばれてやってきた。汚い世界に凛と咲く一輪の花。
You can have the text autoplay, and I found it was easy to read against the black text box background. The only time I found the text was difficult to read was in the high-speed quiz sections. The Japanese voice cast for Yurukill has some heavy hitters, including Sayori Hayami, who has voiced in numerous popular anime titles including Spy X Family and Demon Slayer, and you can tell this is an experienced voice cast by their performances. They really help draw you into the story. As for the music, it seemed fitting. It was tense where dialogue called for it, a little mysterious, and somehow incorporated a sense of the carnival-like amusement park atmosphere. To round it out, the game has impressive sound effects during the gameplay sections. It made me feel like I was playing a classic arcade game, with crisp sounds for the bullets, the impacts of the enemies, and also for picking up items that fill your ship's gauge. I'm just gonna say it, I have been obsessed with this game since I started playing it. As I played through Yurukill, I could draw upon similarities to Danganronpa, with the crazy story, and yet it wove in puzzles like I was playing Professor Layton, not to mention execution sections that felt like I was on trial in an Ace Attorney game, rounding it out with incredible shmup shooter sections that really had this classic arcade vibe to them. Just be aware that the story is mostly dialogue with some gameplay sections sprinkled throughout. I would recommend this 100% to those of you that loved Danganronpa, and for anybody that is interested in the crazy combination of genres. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!